Hey Mama, I apologize. I cannot believe how busy my life has gotten lately, and that's not really a good excuse because I really need to prioritize stuff like this because it is important to me. Nonetheless, I apologize for being MIA on my Tuesday episode the last couple of weeks. Hopefully, I will be able to get to this motherhood episode I plan to more regularly because I need it, and I always have some deep thought or things that I'm thinking or things that I've learned that I desire to share. And that's what I use this Tuesday episode for, is to help in my motherhood, but hopefully also help you in your motherhood. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, fellow mom of 5 and host of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find the positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Let's find positivity during our pregnancies and in our motherhood together. Thanks for joining. I always feel like I need to say, I'm not the perfect parent. I don't have everything down. This doesn't always 100% work. All those things. I'm just sharing with you some tips that have worked for different children of mine, and you may have a child that comes to mind as you listen to this episode, and something that you feel might help or work with that particular child. And then you'll find with different children, that does not work. So these are just tips. Use your own discernment to decide if they are good for you and your family. I talked last week about how children do need to be disciplined, and that's more of what I want to discuss this week, is what is appropriate discipline for children. Now, this is really important, to discipline. But the thing with discipline is they can't be empty threats. Empty threats create rotten children, or at least that's what I've observed and has been my experience. They get to believe, or they come to believe through your inaction, that nothing will happen if they don't do what you say. And so they keep not doing what you say. And as they get older, it gets harder, it gets more difficult, it gets more frustrating, it gets more annoying. So if you can kind of help them understand that when you say something you are serious, they will tend to behave a little bit better. Now, just go back to the beginning of this episode on all of those except. There's definitely exceptions to every rule and circumstance, but overall, this is what has helped with a lot of my kids, is the follow-through. So when you are disciplining children, it is important to make sure that your children understand and that what they are disciplined for is somewhat related. I learned a lot of this from Amy McCready from Positive Parenting Solutions. I've also learned a lot of my parenting styles from Parenting with Love and Logic. There is an old book written the cover reminds me of the 90s, but that book and Amy McCready's and podcasts have all shaped my parenting, also the way my parents parented. And so all of that has gone into it, and I've always wanted to do it with love. That's why I like the Love and Logic, because you still love your children, but they have to learn the consequences. So sometimes there are natural consequences, and sometimes there have to be consequences that you impose. If they don't clean their room, the consequence is what? Maybe the consequence is they get all their toys taken away. Or maybe the consequence is they are not able to go to their dance class that day. Nonetheless, the children need to know beforehand what their consequences is going to be. Hey, I told you that if you don't get your room cleaned, you don't get to go to dance. The hard part about parenting is when you actually have to follow through. So that is why you don't give threats or tell them things that you are not willing to follow through on. So once I wanted to really threaten my kids with not going to their soccer game. But realistically, like, I had to be at those soccer games, and that was not something that I really wanted to threaten them with, like, because if one didn't go, then we all couldn't go, and so it just was not something that I wanted to threaten them with. Even now, I still use this. I don't threaten them with things that I'm not willing to follow through on. So if you're not willing to not take them to dance, then don't threaten with that. If you're not willing to take away all their toys, don't do that. It's got to be something that you are willing to follow through on. And then you have to follow through. My kids have had their toys taken away multiple times. We have actually had to stay home from grandma's because they chose not to listen or to do what we had asked them to do. And make sure they understand. So as they get older, like, I don't know, 3, 4, and they can understand, you tell them, Mommy expects you to do this, and make it age appropriate. But if you don't do it, then this is going to happen. Before that, sometimes they just need corner time, and it's hard to discipline kids like younger, but they do still need it. They need to see that if they aren't doing what they are supposed to, or if like they're hitting or repeatedly doing something that you've asked them not to, then they're going to have to stand in the corner. And so the corner works for a time, I don't know, maybe up to 5. We've actually used the corner most of our kids' lives. The older ones don't have to hardly go there anymore. But I also feel like the premises have changed. So instead of corner for them, it's more like taking away toys or privileges to go places. So it just kind of shifts and changes as they get a little bit older. But making sure that they're related. So like with the toys, I'm going to take away your toys if you don't pick them up. The toys are related. The consequence is related. Sometimes it's hard, especially for the little ones, to grasp if the punishment isn't somewhat related. So Amy McCready does a lot better at explaining that than I do. I just want you to know that the follow through is what makes the biggest difference. If you don't follow through, they will just view them as empty threats, and it will be difficult for them to listen because they think that you will not follow through. And do your best to be consistent, because if you follow through sometimes and you don't follow through sometimes, you're going to raise confused kids. But nonetheless, I have done that many times, and you can always pick up and keep trying. That's what we keep doing as parents, is to keep trying, finding better ways to help our children understand that we love them, but there are consequences for our choices, and they need to understand that as kids so that as adults they will realize that their choices have consequences. I think that's where we're going to stop for this week. I have a lot of ideas on things that I would like to share, but where I had talked about loving your children last week, I wanted to talk a little bit about loving them through discipline. It actually is loving them to help them learn these things, because it actually helps them to be more free. Where did I hear it? I heard something the other day. He said, discipline is freedom. I don't think those were the words, but if I can find it, I'll put it in a future podcast. But your children need your love through discipline, showing that you care, that they listen, that they try to become better. So God is cheering for us. He wants us to succeed in our parenting endeavors. Pray to Him and ask Him to help you. For some of us, discipline is hard. It's not very easy. And we may need some help to know the right ways and the right things to do for certain children. So pray to Him. I believe you will be led to what you need for that particular child. We will visit again next Tuesday. Love you, Mama. Bye. Thank you for being a part of the Positivity in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts, and becoming the mother that you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out, I can help you. Thanks for joining. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward in your motherhood. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.